Okay, so ayan. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, good morning, good morning po. Magandang araw po sa lahat. Mga kababayan, sana po ay nasa mabuti kang kalagayan. Ito po muli ang inyong lingkod, Zayan Vlog TV. Sana po konting favor lang. Pa-subscribe na rin po at papindot na rin po ang bell nang sa ganun ay maging updated po tayo sa mga susunod natin mga video. Maghatid po muli tayo ng isang video na mga kaganapan sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo. So today this video ay papakita po natin sa inyo ang kasalukuyang kaganapan sa bansang China. So actually sa ngayon po ay umabot na ng 90% or more ang infected ng virus sa China, sa Henan province. Ang mamamayan po ng Henan ay umabot ng 99.4 million. So sa kasalukuyan po ay mahigit 88.5 million na po ang infected ng virus. So mag-iingat po tayo. So bago po yung mga kababayan, no, panoorin po natin itong video na ito, itong international news mula sa Gravitas po, mula po ito sa Gravitas News. So panoorin po natin ito para maging babala po ito na mag-ingat po tayo mga kababayan.
And let's now turn our focus to Pakistan's best friend, China, where the Wuhan virus is spreading like wildfire. At least 90%, I repeat, 90% of people in Henan have been infected. This is where the province is located on the map. It is home to 99.4 million people, and at least 88.5 million of them are currently down with the Wuhan virus. I'm not making up this number. This is according to official figures from the director of the Health Commission for Central Henan Province. This is a scale that's honestly hard to imagine. 90%. Because unless you're watching us from China, you wouldn't know what it means to have 90% of people around you sick. But what I can tell you tonight is what a sick China means for you and your families. I will begin by reminding you that China has dropped its travel restrictions. As of 8th of January, China has gone back to business as usual. At least as far as international travel is concerned, those coming into China do not need to quarantine anymore, which makes it easier for people living in China to travel outside. And travel is what a lot of the Chinese are planning to do. Look at the long queues outside the immigration office in Beijing. People are all waiting to submit their passport applications for renewal. Many are applying for fresh passports.
Due to the industry that I'm in, there are certain links that need to be made with the outside world, so I'll have to travel out more.
Yes, I have been waiting and waiting because of the pandemic. Now I'm looking forward to traveling and seeing more of Japan.
But is everyone comfortable with the idea of people coming in from China, entering their borders at a time when provinces are falling sick en masse? Some people say they find the idea a little scary.
Japan is still one of the top countries in the world in terms of the number of infected people. So I think it's necessary to some extent to protect not only us, but also overseas customers.
Thailand too is preparing for the influx of Chinese tourists. The country is expecting 7 to 10 million Chinese visitors in the coming months. 7 to 10 million. The first flight with Chinese tourists arrived in Thailand today. How many of them do you think were infected? I ask this solely because of what is happening inside China. Last week on the show, we told you about Shanghai, where 75% of residents are estimated to be infected. We told you that even if we take a conservative estimate, it won't be wrong to say that at least 50% of China is currently infected, if the situation in other cities is similar to Shanghai. Turns out the reality is worse. We are talking about 90% of people being infected. So let's go back to our old formula again. Let's once again consider a conservative number. Let's say Henan is an exception and that the situation in all of the other provinces isn't all that bad. And 70% of people are infected, not 90%. That still leaves us with 70% of the entire population infected. 70% of 1.4 billion, 7 in 10 people, 7 in 10 travelers. What does that mean for you? Do the maths. Some 245 flights are going out of China daily. That's less than 10% of the pre-pandemic traffic. But scary enough, if one is to assume that 7 in every 10 passengers in these flights may be infected with the Wuhan virus. Or with new variants that the world does not know much about yet. And remember, China isn't exactly sharing data with the world. Henan's major international airport is located in its capital city, Zhengzhou. And from there, you have flights taking off for Singapore, Sydney, Manila, Seoul. Which means Henan is indirectly connected to all major cities of the world. There are routes which the Wuhan virus can take to travel and reinfect the world. There are flights that it can board. Flights to Singapore, Seoul, Shanghai, Sydney. They're all operational already. But who do you think is traveling in these flights? One would assume the people of this very province, the people of Henan. But some 90% of them are infected with the Wuhan virus. So who is traveling? Let's not forget that China is not doing its bid in screening passengers. Else, the flights that landed in Milan wouldn't have nearly 50% of the passengers test positive. Same with the flights that landed in Taiwan last week. So China is letting infected people travel abroad. And last I checked, there were less than 5 seats left on one of the flights to Sydney departing on the 11th of January. Less than 5 seats. In one of the flights to Seoul, same with Bangkok. You know what this means, right? WION World is One is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.
So yan nga po mga kami, napanood po natin, no? Napanood po ninyo yung balita ng gravitas, no? Kasalukuyang nagaganap o nangyayari sa Henan. Sa Henan po ay isang province ng China na halos kasindami ng mamamayan doon ang kabuuan ng buong Pilipino, ng mamamayang Pilipino, kasi almost 100 million na rin po ang naninirahan dyan sa province of Henan. So ang mga ibang bansa na po sa ngayon ay naging ano na po sila, naging alerto na po sila at hindi na nila hinahayaan na makapasok sa kanila ang residente na China. Ganun na rin po ang mga ng mga kanilang mga aircraft. So sana po diyan sa ating bansang Pilipinas ay maging aware na rin po ang ating gobyerno, lalo't alam naman natin ang Pilipinas ay parang palengke na lang kung puntahan ng mga Chinese. So hindi po natin sinasabi na huwag silang i-welcome, pero sana magkaroon ng matinding inspection o check para sa ganun ay maiwasan ang magdala sila ng virus dyan sa Pilipinas, dahil alam naman natin na hindi nakakayanin ng Pilipinas pa ang mag-lockdown pa na mag-lockdown katulad nung nakaraang panahon, nakaraang taon, 2 taon, na kung saan nakita natin kung gaano kadaming taong naghirap, nawalan ng trabaho, hindi na makakain dahil sa pandemic. So nawa ay sabay-sabay po natin ipanalangin na naway hanggang China lang yan at wag na po lumaganap muli sa buong mundo. Sama-sama po tayo na manalangin na naway makahanap na ang China ng gamot para sa ganun ay malaban na nila ang kasalukuyang pandemic o kasalukuyang nagaganap sa kanilang bansa.